Welcome to our Defense Briefing Show. I'm your host, Liang Jun. We dive into some intriguing stories making headlines. President Trump has stirred the pot by questioning Senator Mitch McConnell's mental sharpness and even his childhood polio battle. This comes after McConnell opposed the controversial Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as nomination as Health Secretary, showcasing the rift between the two political figures. In other news, a U.S. admiral in charge of preparing for potential conflict with China is set to visit Australia next week. This visit follows a tense incident involving military aircraft in the South China Sea, highlighting the growing military tensions in the region. Meanwhile, the Australian government is keeping a close eye on Chinese warships in the Coral Sea as they navigate these challenging waters. Lastly, the influence of artificial intelligence within the U.S. government is on the rise, especially under Trump's administration, with Elon Musk gaining significant power through the Department of Government Efficiency. Concerns are mounting over potential conflicts of interest and the implications for you. As we explore these stories, please stay tuned for more detailed coverage. Associated Press reports that President Donald Trump has publicly questioned Senator Mitch McConnell's well-documented childhood struggle with polio, following McConnell's opposition to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as nomination as the nation's health secretary. This attack highlights the deteriorating relationship between the two Republican leaders, which had previously been characterized by cooperation on tax cuts and judicial appointments. Who has openly discussed his experience as a polio survivor and the importance of vaccines, was the lone Senate Republican to vote against Kennedy. Trump's comments about McConnell's mental fitness and his insinuation of doubt regarding the senator's polio history further emphasized the rift between them. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation reports on rising tensions between Australia and China. As a U.S. commander prepares to visit Australia amid concerns over a dangerous military incident involving Chinese aircraft in the South China Sea. The incident occurred during a routine surveillance operation, prompting formal complaints from Australia to China. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese condemned the actions as unsafe and emphasized the government's commitment to addressing such military provocations through diplomatic channels. Meanwhile, the Australian Defence Force is closely monitoring Chinese warships operating in the Coral Sea, showcasing the escalating military dynamics in the region. Foreign policy delves into the growing influence of artificial intelligence in the U.S. government, particularly under the Trump administration and the involvement of Elon Musk. The article highlights how Musk, as head of the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, has initiated significant changes within various government departments, often prioritizing efficiency over regulatory oversight. This unprecedented empowerment of Musk raises concerns about potential conflicts of interest, especially as he navigates the intersection of his business ventures and government policy. The article warns that if unchecked, the fusion of Musk's interests with government operations could lead to a significant shift in how data and AI are managed, ultimately prioritizing profit over the public good. NY Times reports that a significant incident occurred when the U.S. Truman Nimitz-class aircraft carrier collided with a merchant ship called the Bastigas M in the Mediterranean Sea near Port Said, Egypt. The collision happened shortly before midnight, but fortunately there were no injuries reported on either vessel, and the Truman's nuclear propulsion systems remained stable. This incident marks a troubling return to the spotlight for the Navy, which had previously faced scrutiny after fatal collisions in 2017 that resulted from crew errors. The Navy is currently investigating the circumstances surrounding this latest crash. NY Times highlights the impact of the Trump administration's policies on educational environments at NATO schools in Belgium, where teachers have begun to remove symbols of diversity and inclusion, such as Harriet Tubman posters and origami cranes, in anticipation of a visit from Jennifer Rochett Hexeth, the wife of Secretary of Defense Pete Hexeth. Educators, fearing retribution, have been scrambling to comply with directives that discourage cultural observances and require the removal of certain books from classrooms. This situation illustrates the broader ripple effects of political decisions on the Defense Department's education system, reflecting a significant cultural shift within these schools. Australian Broadcasting Corporation reports that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been confirmed as the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, a rule that puts him in charge of substantial federal health spending. Despite being a well-known vaccine skeptic, Kennedy received the support of most Republicans, with a narrow confirmation vote of 50-40, while Democrats unanimously opposed him. His confirmation has raised concerns among some lawmakers about his potential influence on vaccine policies and public health guidelines. Kennedy, who has gained notoriety for his controversial views during the COVID-19 pandemic, aims to restore trust in public health agencies and has been tasked with leading a new initiative to improve national health. NY Times reports that during a recent meeting of NATO defense ministers in Brussels, European leaders expressed their strong desire for Ukraine to be included in any peace negotiations regarding the ongoing war with Russia. Concerns have arisen that the Trump administration may pursue a strategy that excludes Europe, particularly after President Trump described a productive phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin without mentioning Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. European Council President Antonio Costa emphasized that lasting peace had not been achieved without Ukraine's involvement and warned against hasty negotiations that could undermine Ukraine's position. South China Morning Post highlights U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's firm stance on the European defense responsibility, dismissing accusations that the U.S. is undermining NATO by suggesting that Ukraine's pre-2014 borders are unrealistic. Critics argue this could weaken U.S. leverage in negotiations with Russia, but Hegseth maintains that the U.S. will not allow Europe to depend solely on America for its defense. He stated that any future negotiations could involve discussions on U.S. funding and troop levels in Europe, while also reinforcing that NATO's success hinges on European nations increasing their defense contributions. Al Jazeera covers Ukrainian President Zelensky's insistence that the U.S. must first establish a definitive plan to counter Russia before engaging in peace talks. Following Trump's outreach to Putin in Zelensky expressed his discomfort over being sidelined and stressed that Ukraine cannot accept any agreements made without its participation. European officials echoed this sentiment, asserting that any peace deal would be ineffective without their involvement. Kaja Kallas, the EU foreign policy chief, warned against quick fixes that could favor Russia, while Costa reiterated that true peace requires a commitment to ensuring that Russia ceases to pose a threat to Ukraine and Europe. Australian Broadcasting Corporation reports on the remarkable efforts of a group of dedicated Septuagenarians, affectionately dubbed as Army, who are making a significant impact in the fight against the Grampians bushfires. These veteran volunteer firefighters, aged around 70, are stationed at the Hamilton Air Base, where they mix and refuel water bombers, showcasing their unwavering commitment despite their age. With a combined experience of over 50 years in firefighting, they operate the only volunteer-run mixing and refueling station in Victoria, loading hundreds of planes with fire retardant and water during the intense bushfire season. The airbase, which has evolved since WWII, now boasts rapid response times for aerial firefighting, with planes ready to take off in under 5 minutes. Amidst their hard work, the camaraderie and humor remain strong, as they share stories and advice while donning their coveralls and gloves, as they continue to support the firefighting efforts throughout the summer. Their spirit and dedication serve as an inspiring reminder of the power of community and resilience in the face of adversity. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopsis, thoughtfully curated by the 6DO team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6DO Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6DO team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6DO Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6DO Brief via email.
Waking up to wonders, tech and nature blunders. Got our rockets flying while the oceans are sighing. Lasers in the sky now, holograms we say